Hey everyone, how are we doing today? Mary Ellen Vinnock and Sue Jennings, the real estate ladies of North Atlanta. What are we going to cover today? We're going to cover about what are the pros and cons of a neighborhood having an HOA. That's the first thing we're going to talk about, which is always fun. The next thing we're going to talk about is our neighborhood in Alpharetta, which is Mayfair on Main. Say that 3 times fast. And so we're going to talk about that. Then we're going to talk about what we love about North Atlanta. So you'll have to wait to see what that's about. And finally, we're going to talk about some kind of interesting design. What do we call it? The design of the day, or
design tip of the day.
Design tip of the day. So let's go into first our neighborhood. It's in Alpharetta. It's called Mayfair on Main. Say it 10 times fast, and if you can do that, then I guess you can buy there, right? So give us a little information about this new community.
Well, Mary Ellen, I think you know by now that I love new construction, and this particular property is being developed right across from the Maxwell near downtown Alpharetta, or in downtown Alpharetta. It's right on Route 9. It's also within steps or adjacent to the Alpha Loop. It's being built by Blue River Lifestyle Communities, and it's being marketed by Sotheby's. So it's within 2 miles of the heart of downtown Alpharetta. And it's Mayfair on Main is a collection of 11 townhomes and 13 single family homes starting at $1.3 million. They're sophisticated and customizable finishes, stunning rooftop terraces, and captivating open floor plans with up to 4,800 square feet of finished space for the affluent buyer who is looking for the unique opportunity to live moments from North Atlanta's, what I think, premier city center. And it's definitely worth checking out. They are just getting started now on foundations and so forth. They've been working for the better part of the last year, getting, the structure in as far as streets and so forth. And I think my notes said within 2 miles. I want to correct myself there. It's probably within 2 minutes of downtown Alpharetta.
Yeah. So if you don't know about downtown Alpharetta, the best way to is just shops, restaurants, lifestyle. The library is there. There's just so much for any lifestyle in downtown Alpharetta. So you've got the shops, you've got the restaurants, you got the bars, and it's really nice. And it's just, we are really moving here in Georgia to a lot of communities that are live, work, and play. People, when they get home from work, they don't want to get in the car again. They want to walk across the street and go to a restaurant, or go have a drink, or meet their friends, or go with the kids to go play a game. And there's always so many activities going on in downtown Alpharetta. So thanks for giving us that information about that new community called Mayfair on Main. So let's get into the HOAs. What are the pros and cons of neighborhood HOA? Homeowners Association. Now, I know as well as you do, we're both from the North. And when we both moved down here, we're like, what is an HOA? No idea, because, it's just not known much there. So the best way to put an HOA is a community, and then you pay a certain amount of money every month or year, a total amount, and they have amenities, and they take care of some of the areas. Some of them have pools and tennis courts and playgrounds and things like that. So we'll get into that. So Sue,
that's where we start off. We're going to first talk about the pros of having an HOA, and then we will talk about the cons of having an HOA.
Okay.
So let's start with the pros. My number one on my list is community maintenance and aesthetics. And this includes ensuring that the common areas of the parks, the pools, common area landscaping, that all of that is well maintained, mowed, trimmed, cleaned, maintained for the overall appearance of an appeal of the neighborhood in general.
Yeah, I think it's so important that when you drive into a neighborhood, that it's just, it welcomes you home. right? So every time you're even driving in your neighborhood, you're proud to be in that neighborhood because they take great care of it. You've got maybe a pool, you maybe have a tennis court, you have a playground, so that it will attract every lifestyle.
So one of the second things that I've put on my list today, as far as the pro of having an HOA, is property value protection. So that means that the HOA has rules and standards for property maintenance and appearance, and that it's up to these HOAs to enforce these rules to preserve and potentially increase your property value within the community.
You mean I can't have a pink house, Sue? Like a Barbie house?
No, and you probably can't put your purple pool in the driveway either.
Oh, or 20 cars and boats and stuff all hanging out or on the driveway and stuff. So like people think in Georgia that that's what people do, but they don't. Their pickup truck on top of the grass and stuff. No. So that's a great.
Do you know in Alpharetta, whether you have an HOA or not, it's really against the city ordinance to park your car on the grass.
Oh, good. See, look at that. See,
car on the grass.
I never knew that.
Yeah.
So in Alpharetta, we both live in Alpharetta. Basically, you can't have your car on the grass. Well, anyway, that doesn't really happen very often. But honestly, yes, the HOA can be, and we'll probably get into this, maintained by either people that live in the neighborhood or a outside management company. Right. And then a lot of them have an architectural board, which walks around and tells you if you're doing it, if your weeds are too high or whatever. And then they do like, this is the yard of the month and all this kind of stuff. So they will do fun things like that too.
Yeah. So our number 3 pro of having an HOA is amenities. Amenities are shared items such as swimming pools, clubhouses, gyms, tennis courts, and they all provide quality of life for the residents and a sense of pride in the community. But somebody's got to manage these and maintain them, and that's a positive of having an HOA.
Yeah, definitely. And just be able that you don't have to maintain your own pool, and you can just walk down and it's a great place to meet the neighbors and just really have fun.
Right. So number 4 on my list today, as far as a positive for having an HOA, is conflict resolution. When neighbors can get into disputes about noise or property boundaries or maintenance, the HOA can actually help maintain harmony within the community.
Yeah, that's a big one, because you always see, someone's, doing their lawn in the middle of the night or whatever. They got the lawnmower going or something, who knows?
Or before 7 a.m. on a Saturday when everybody wants to sleep.
Well,
nobody wants to listen to a lawnmower before 7 a.m.
Whatever. So, I mean, you don't want to really have disputes between neighbors, but it's nice that an HOA can come in and kind of help guide that in the right direction.
So another thing that an HOA can do is they can help organize community events and activities, such as social events, neighborhood watch programs. They can help foster that sense of community and engagement among the residents. Yeah,
I mean, so like anything from like Halloween parade, Christmas parade, just they can do stuff in the clubhouse and social, and then like they can do I don't know, like what's really popular, wine club, book club, so they hit every single homeowner that lives in that neighborhood. They have events for each one of those.
Right. And one of the other things that an HOA can help with is security within a community. So that's number 6 on my list. And so there are communities here in the North Atlanta area that are gated. Some are gated. Some have security patrols, whether they're gated or not. Some also have surveillance cameras, and all of this enhance the safety of the neighborhood.
Yeah. And I think that's important too. And remember that most people have surveillance cameras on their property. So like if a kid, like for instance, if a kid like goes on your driveway and starts skateboarding down it, you're going to actually have a picture of it. So you need to tell your kids not to do crazy things in the neighborhood, because you're going to have some, you're going to have some information. We had that once where we had a bunch of kids. We kind of live up on a hill, and they really liked coming down on our hill, coming down on the skateboard. And we got them, and it just became dangerous because there was cars coming, like around the corner or whatever. So not to get them into too much trouble, but just kind of talk to their parents and just said, hey, this is kind of a, situation. And it was resolved. Actually, the kids came and apologized. They were just being kids, they didn't think anything was wrong about it, but it was just more of a dangerous thing that I was more concerned that they were going to go into the neighborhood, and possibly somebody could come around the corner and hit them. So, but anyway, yeah. So security cameras, remember, everybody has security. So anywhere you go, especially if you walk in a house, they all have security, and they're all listening to everything you say. So just zip it up and talk when you're on and not near the house. So, but I do like the security, and also like the neighbors knowing each other and, supporting each other. If they see something, they're going to put it out into the Facebook page or the neighborhood, email that everybody talks about, the kind of Google group or whatever. We have a lot of that kind of stuff in our neighborhood too, so that we all kind of know we're informed if something's good or bad.
Right. So what are the cons of having an HOA?
I would tell you one of the big cons that, people are going to say, I don't want to be told what to do.
Yeah,
I don't want an HOA because I want to do whatever I want to do. And I understand people, because a lot of people don't understand HOAs. They just come down to here, and there's a ton of HOAs. There's not a lot of communities that are not HOAs. So that's their first thing. And I said, you're really going to put yourself out if you want to look at houses that are not in HOAs. There's not going to be that many. So let's be open up to it and understand and ask a lot of questions. You can see the covenants. You can see what you can do and what you can't do and all that other kind of stuff.
Right. Because the restrictions and the rules will help you potentially in terms of regarding the property appearance. They want you to make sure you're mowing your lawn, that you're trimming the edges, that you're pulling your weeds. They want the home to be landscaped. They don't want parking like in the street at certain hours. They want you to be parking in your driveway or in your garage. They can even restrict some of the exterior decorations that you put on your house. Some homeowners don't like these rules. They find them overly restrictive and limiting their freedom, but actually it is preserving the values in the neighborhood. The second item that I want to mention today that people, dislike when they, talk about an HOA is the fees associated with an HOA. Homeowners pay regular HOA fees, whether it's monthly, quarterly, or twice a year, once a year. These fees all go towards the maintenance of the common areas and the amenities, but they can be a financial burden for some residents, and HOAs, the fees can always go up in the future. But a lot of the communities here in the North Atlanta area are swim tennis. They do have playgrounds, and somebody's got to be, these things aren't free. There's insurance costs associated with them. There's, landscaping and making sure that the proper type of mulch is underneath the swing set so that if, kids are playing, nobody gets hurt. They're all for your benefit ultimately. And so anyway, special assessments are always a concern when you have an HOA, and usually we'll see special assessments more so for like condos and townhouses where they have common roofs and all that need to be replaced from time to time. These are fees in addition to the regular HOA fees for unexpected expenses or major projects that can be costly to homeowners.
And I think I'm just going to add to that a little bit, Sue. Like, people don't understand that there is an HOA budget, and the homeowners get to vote on the budget. They get to look at the budget. They get to know what's going on and realize how expensive things are, like how expensive it is to have the landscaper do all the trimming, and the pool guy who comes out and takes care of the pool, and the tennis courts refinished and all that kind of stuff. So you're going to see, like, I think a lot of things that you have to do is ask questions and ask people that are coming to the area that are unfamiliar with an HOA of what it entails. Because I think if you look at the big picture, you're going to go towards more of being in an HOA than not, because of, you want to keep the value of your home. So
Right, right. So just keep in mind too that you can't just not pay your HOA fees. The HOA has a means in place to enforce, their rules, enforce the payment of the fees, and levy penalties if they need to for non-compliance with any of these items. I know it can lead to conflict and some resentment among the homeowners, but all of these things are in place for everybody's benefit, and they're non-discriminatory regardless of what your situation is.
And one thing
Um,
is, if you're purchasing a house and you're like, well, did those people are they up to date? So when you're purchasing a house, you're going to know from the HOA that everything is squared up, everything's good, and that you don't own any, they're not going to put any liens or anything on your thing, because HOAs can put liens on your house. I don't get involved in all that kind of stuff, but usually it's pretty resolved. People understand they got to pay and they got to do their thing. If not, then they need to move into a home that is not in an HOA. But remember, when you are purchasing a house, everything will be cleared. Everything you get in a community association exhibit in Georgia, you will get all the information that everything is cleared and everything's paid up to date. So I think that's another concern that people think.
Right. Right. And, number 5 on my list is potential mismanagement by an HOA, of whether it's misuse of funds or neglecting maintenance, or neglecting to enforce rules consistently. These can all lead to dissatisfaction by the residents, but the residents need to keep in mind that there are a lot of different HOA companies. And if a particular HOA company isn't working for your community, fire them. Hire a new HOA company, because there are a lot of different companies out there, and maybe you just need to start over and refresh with a new HOA. And that is something that you can potentially do as residents, is to have some say into who your HOA management company is. Number 6 on the list of the cons of an HOA are limitations on personalization. Some homeowners feel that they can't personalize their home with their particular exterior paint colors, or their landscaping, or sheds, fences. These can be frustrating to some people. But if you're in a community with an HOA and you have somebody move in across the street and they suddenly paint their front door orange because they're a big Tennessee fan, and orange is not in the palette of colors for your community, you will be very glad you have an HOA to go over to that new homeowner and say, hello, we know you're new to the neighborhood, but you cannot paint your door orange.
Right.
After all, there are a lot of, Bulldog fans in Georgia.
Yes, there
So,
is.
anyway,
And
yeah.
well, you're going to see a lot of red doors, and red is usually okay, but that orange I'm not so sure about. I'm really not sure about that. But anyway, it's just and a lot of HOAs will have you fill out forms with your colors, and showing that you have to submit to the HOA before you do any work on the outside of the house.
That's called the Architectural Review Committee.
Yes.
Almost all HOAs have an Architectural Review Committee, and it covers, just not just the paint colors, but also if you're replacing your roof, what color the shingles are going to be. And, there's just all kinds of things. If you're building an addition on your home, it has to go through the Architectural Review Committee, so that somebody just doesn't stick a square box on, the side of a beautiful, red brick or white brick or whatever color home that is there, that it ties into the neighborhood, that it goes architecturally with the style of the homes to maintain the integrity of the community. And people need to remember that there is a power dynamic here for the HOA. And HOA boards are typically composed of residents elected by the community. Some of these power dynamics can be a little problematic in terms of favoritism and poor leadership and lack of transparency. But you, as a resident, paying into that HOA, you need to make a change if you see something that's not right and speak up and not just live with it, because you'll ultimately be happier with your community if you do. HOAs sometimes can have an issue with getting into legal disputes. Some of these can be costly. There can be litigation involved. Again, it's one of those things where you need to stay tuned into what's going on with your HOA and your community, because it ultimately does impact the resale of your particular home. And your home is probably your largest investment, your largest asset in your portfolio, your financial portfolio. And so we want to make sure that the HOA is actually working to your benefit to maintain that property value and ultimately your wealth. So, but there are different HOAs, like I said, out there. They do vary in quality and effectiveness. That there are benefits and drawbacks to different HOAs, and they can vary significantly from one neighborhood to another. So, deciding whether an HOA is beneficial to you depends upon your individual preferences and priorities. And some homeowners appreciate the structure of and community benefits that an HOA provides, while others prefer the freedom and the lower costs of living in non-HOA neighborhoods.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I mean, you have communities here where you have 10 homes or 20 homes, and then you have communities, and they all have most of them have HOAs. Then you have a community that has 2,000 plus homes. So it's just also the same thing as when you're trying to find a house and find a neighborhood. You know what you get when you're getting into a smaller community or a bigger community.
So today, Mary Ellen, what are we going to talk about as far as what we love about North Atlanta?
What do we love about North Atlanta? So one of our favorite things is the Alpharetta Food Truck Alley, which is on Thursdays, and it's in downtown Alpharetta. And there's so much food trucks and music, and it's just a great community event that comes. And it starts in April and goes till October. And what else can you tell us about what, we see different food trucks every single week.
Yeah, there's usually 6 to 8 different food trucks there every single week with different types of food every single week. And some of them are more popular than others, of course. You'll see longer lines at some than others, but generally the lines move pretty well. The food is always delicious and unique, but it's fun to stroll the streets, to listen to the music that's being played in the area, and just to kick off your weekend early, to get that Thursday night in, just makes your weekend seem so much longer. And just meeting up with friends and neighbors and meeting new people is just amazing in the streets of Alpharetta.
Yeah, that's one of our favorite things to do, is to go down there. And dogs are allowed. Because everybody has dogs, so you're going to see a lot of dogs down there, and you're going to see bowls for dogs and treats for dogs, and it's always really a lot of fun. So to bring the whole family, friends, great night out, just going there. You don't have to cook. You can go to the restaurants as well, but it's really the food trucks, so you can have a little snack on the food truck and maybe sit down and have dinner somewhere else as well. So it's really a lot of fun. So our next little area that we're going to talk about is our design of the day. So
our design tip.
Design tip. So the tip
design
of
tip of the day.
The design tip
Mary Ellen,
yes.
My tip of the day is lighting. Lighting can be very, very exciting if you really dig into it. There's just so much involved with lighting, but there are 5 common mistakes that homeowners make when they're trying to sell their homes. And the first one is insufficient lighting. Dimly lit spaces make the spaces feel smaller, uninviting, gloomy, and people don't want to walk into a house and buy a house that just feels sad. So the solution to that is to make sure that every room in your house has adequate lighting, and use a combination of different types of lighting. Use ambient lighting, task lighting, accent lighting, and also use higher wattage bulbs and additional fixtures if necessary. Make sure the color of all those bulbs is the same. And when I'm talking about color, I'm talking about inside your house as well as outside of your house. There's a beautiful new home that was built recently in downtown Alpharetta. Gorgeous home. But they have one color of lighting on the front of their house and in their wall fixtures on the exterior of the home. And then they have lights on their posts around their fence, around the perimeter of the property. And it's like this cold, harsh blue LED light that just creates this contrast that just takes away from the beauty of the home. So try to avoid things like that. And with LED lighting, keep in mind, it does come in different colors. You don't have to go with the harsh blue. There's about 3 other colors, from a soft white, light, all a cool light, things like that, that you can choose from. But when you make the choices, make sure you're choosing all the same color throughout your home. And as far as lighting, don't ignore the natural light. So when you're listing your home, make sure those blinds are open, your drapes are open, that you're showing, and please wash your windows, because it makes such a difference in the way your home looks. I mean, it's just unbelievable. But heavy drapes, blinds, and furniture blocking windows can all prevent natural light from filling a space and brightening a space. And so the solution to all of this is open the curtains, open the blinds, clean the windows, arrange the furniture to allow the natural flow of light to come in. And if you really do need to maintain your privacy, consider going to a sheer curtain to let light in while you maintain your privacy. Number 3 on my list is get rid of outdated and inconsistent fixtures. So in other words, old, mismatched, or out of style light fixtures can detract from the overall appearance of the home. It's really amazing how you can go to Home Goods and get a $29 or $39 light fixture that changes the whole look of a room and really updates it. Replace those those outdated fixtures, modernize and use cohesive designs that go with your style of your home and your taste and so forth. And just be consistent and take into consideration when you buy those fixtures, what the other finishes are in your room, and make sure you don't have to match your metals, but make sure things do go together. Number 4, and this is one I touched on earlier, is the color temperature choice of the light bulbs themselves. Using the wrong color temperature, either too warm or too cool, can actually create an unappealing and uncomfortable appearance to a room. So make sure you're checking those bulbs out and avoid anything that's overly harsh in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
Number 5 is neglecting to highlight special features of your home. These are architectural details generally that can make a home look, much more impressive if they're lit correctly, even on the exterior of the home, some night lighting and so forth along your walkway that shines up onto the front of the home and shows off maybe the stone features or peaks of the home can really make it look so much more appealing. Artwork is something that should be lit appropriately. Built-in shelving should be lit appropriately. And consider installing under cabinet lighting in your kitchen, for instance, and putting sconces in various spots, because these can highlight special features of your home and make the space look bigger, brighter, cleaner, and much more inviting. So to summarize, I'm going to give you some bonus tips. Bonus tips are: clean your light fixtures. Get up there and dust them. We don't want to see cobwebs on your chandeliers. I know they're up at the 2-story level and a lot of your soaring ceilings in your living rooms and all, but we need to make sure that there are no cobwebs, they've been dusted, that all the light bulbs work, and that it has a nice clean appearance. If you are concerned about your energy bill, one thing you might want to consider putting in are some dimmer switches. This can create a little more ambiance and give a little variety to a space. But don't forget your outdoor lighting as well. great outdoor lighting, like on patios and in your backyard. This also improves the appeal of a home, curb appeal as well if you're putting some lighting in the front, and it makes a welcoming first impression. So on those lights that are by your front door, make sure you're cleaning the glass in those as well. And my final comment,
tip.
and then I'll be quiet, is if you have lamps with lampshades, walk around your house and check them. When was the last time you replaced the lampshade? Is it dusty? Is it yellowed? Is it torn? Take those dingy lampshades, get them out of there, go to Home Depot or Lowe's or even online and get new, fresh, clean lampshades. It can really change the appearance of a home. I am telling you, it's really amazing how just a little bit of a change of a lampshade can whiten up and brighten up a room so much.
Yeah, and I would just add to that, like, also, like, a lot of people will have their fans and the lightings around that too. So make sure continuously you are cleaning those fans and cleaning those lighting and making sure all the lights are the same light bulb, because that makes a difference too in a house too as well.
Right. Right. And if you have one of those ceiling fans that creates like a strobe light effect when the lights are on and the fan is running, when you're showing your home, don't have the fan running,
No.
because that strobe like effect can really create almost like a seizure disorder in some people, and people really are not
Or like a
comfortable with
disco
that.
ball. It reminds me of a disco ball. And we all have preferences, just like we do with painting or, you know, anything else, our style. So
Right.
some people like their house really dark, some people like it bright and airy. And so just, you know, just really look into that effect. Of course, neutral colors are always great on the walls. And if you do have something that's really, really dark color, I always would suggest make it, if you're going to sell, just make it a lighter color. So that's,
We'll talk about paint colors as a designer tip in another podcast coming up really
yes,
soon.
definitely. So thanks for all the lighting. Oh, that was great lighting information for the design tip of the day. Thanks for listening to us and watching us. Like I said, you can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, website, YouTube channel, and you can get all kinds of great information on North Atlanta. We love North Atlanta. We live here. We love it so much. So we're always great to share information. If you're moving to the area, let us know, and we'd be happy to give you more information on it. So have a great day. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.